Is like perfect up to the first pickup. Right up to the first pickup, guys. Now that's what I call fret accent. See if it does it on the low side. Yeah, right up the range. Do that on a Les Paul. Yeah, you're not going to do that on a Les Paul. I love Les Pauls, but I had one for years. But you can get to the bridge. There's no way to get to the bridge. But on a flying V, you can do that. All those like out of nowhere sounds. What is that? What is that? What animal is that mimicking? Okay. Playing fatigue while you're playing live. This is a open D to D minor tuning. Okay, playing fatigue. Okay. Show opens. You're right into it, right? End of the first set. Okay. End of the second set. Okay. Beginning of the third set. End of the third set. Fuck it, I give up. tired. I don't play anymore. I just lost my pick. Yeah, that's what happens playing fatigue. What fret am I on? Neck pickup fret. Love this freaking guitar. Okay, yeah. I like to goof around with this and all that and have fun. The whole thing when you start playing live, and everybody goes through this for whatever you practice for like 6 hours. Oh, man, we practice for 6 hours, and I gotta see if I can find my pick. Where did I throw it? Oh, I see. Okay, there you go. I like that pick. It took me a long time to break in that pick. Didn't want to lose it, but it seems like you got all this energy, whatever, and then it comes to live, and like you're feeling a little tired after the first set. You're starving halfway through the second set for whatever reason. You're hungry. You just had eight cheeseburgers, but it doesn't matter. You're still freaking hungry. And then the last set, it's like, oh my God, I need to take a nap. I just need, dude, I got to take a nap. If I don't take a nap, I'm going to the why? Well, it's simple. Okay, well, you traveled there. You loaded up a whole bunch of equipment. Maybe not the singer, but everybody else did. You probably were excited all day about playing live. You probably didn't sleep really well the night before because you're all excited about playing. And then, of course, you probably started into the funny sauce a little too early because, well, I just got to take a couple of drinks just so I can relax. I just want to play and party a little bit. You know, I don't want to take it too seriously. But now you're starting to catch up on you. It's nap time, right? Okay, let's say you don't drink, you're not doing drugs or anything like that. Okay, that's fine. But you still got the other things that will fatigue you. And then, just the stress of playing live. But there's the hour you played, or 45 minutes or whatever it is, and then that little 15-minute break, it kind of, you were just getting on getting really into the music, and then you're at the end of the first set, right? And then you take a little break and you calm down. But you worked your heart rate up through the first set. The second set, you're giving her. You're just really giving her. And you're having fun. You're jumping around like Rudolph Schenker or Angus Young or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I need a chocolate bar. I need something. Like whatever. Been singing very loud, louder than I normally do because, the PA sucks in the establishment and whatever. And then before you know it, you're on a break again, and you're coming down, from that little bit of a high, and now you got to go back and do it one more time. And by that time, your tank is pretty much empty. And what I've always found would help me, number one, don't drink. And number one, just don't drink. And the other thing too is if you are drinking no beer, that's good. But what if you're drinking lots of water? Water will make you so freaking sleepy, it's not funny. So just moderate it. You know what I mean? Like it sounds funny. I know for the vocals, you gotta, you want to make sure that you can, sing and you're not too dried out because that happens to a lot of people, especially the people that drink and the singers that drink. By the time they're into the third set, they lose their voice. It's because you can't, you're really being hard on your vocals. If you're a singer, you shouldn't be drinking a drop. Really, you shouldn't. And you'll learn to appreciate it more anyway. You'll appreciate your live show much more when you're bone sober. I have a beer every now and then, but not after I started playing. I used to back in the 20s. I'm on the preacher, but back in my 20s, when I was in the band, yeah, we'd always drink while we were playing. A few years back, I started getting on stage because I had to drive to the show. I didn't touch a drop of alcohol. I found I enjoyed the show. Not only did I enjoy the show better, but I played better. You know, when you're drunk, you think oh man, we played that show so well last night. The video evidence says no, you didn't. You didn't pay. You missed. You were very sloppy. You were very sloppy. But what I'm getting at is that take away anything that's going to fatigue you the best you can, because it is a physical sport. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like it's a physical sport, but it is a physical sport, especially if you're playing all that fast stuff. It's different when you're sitting in a, anchored like this. When you're up and you're doing the Michael Schenker thing, and, you know what I mean? And you're running around. It's gonna affect you. It's gonna affect you. You're gonna tire out. So you gotta push through it sometimes to get your second win. And it seems like the last 3 songs is where that second win comes in. And when it does, just wait for it, because it will kick in. But if you really know how to time it, don't burn up too much energy in the first. Get into it in the first set. Save your energy to about mid-second set, and then you can start. Because what really throws, like if you were playing like a 3-hour concert nonstop, you'd be fine. But if you got to start and stop, start and stop again, and then start again for 3 sets for like a 3-hour set list, that 3-hour set list with those 15-minute breaks turns into like a 4-hour set list, right? It's half a day of work. Plus, you drove there for an hour, you drove back for an hour, whatever you drove, right? That's what tires you out, and you got to factor that into your show. So it means you can still have fun and do all the energy until you build up the tolerance for it. Playing fatigue is something that gets you, and then that's when you start to see the true colors of some people on stage. Is they get a little bit tired, they get very grumpy and intolerant on like the dumbest things. I've never been a problem with that. I've never had problem with people on stage. It's like, okay, I'm losing, because I'm monitoring me. Okay, I'm a little bit, I gotta, maybe calm down a bit and just focus on the play. Sucks like that, doesn't matter. It's like, but it was focus suck. It's like, this is how you suck while focusing. Okay, whatever. But what I'm getting at is that focus on just playing and rather than entertaining and jumping around, because you don't have to jump around anywhere as much as you think you do to entertain people. You really don't. Like audience. Rapport and stuff like that it's a learned skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Like Angus Young probably came out doing the Angus Young thing out of just, he didn't know what else to do. You know what I mean? I think that's what he said. I didn't know what else to do. So I started doing that. People went nuts. So then, next thing you know, okay, I can do it, but we're going to have to bring some oxygen bottles so I don't keep passing out. And yeah, it wasn't uncommon to see Angus Young go on the oxygen. This is when the guy was in his 30s, 20s and 30s. He was going on oxygen because he was overdoing it, right? But then builds up the tolerance, so then he can do it. Just keep the oxygen bottle there, okay? I'll bleed for the show. You know what I mean? And that's really cool when you think about that. That's what you call dedication. But the thing is that you can move around, have fun, but pace yourself. and focus more on the playing and stuff like that at first until you know what you can get away with. Like for me, I can get away with it quite a bit jumping around, but I also know when I start to feel lightheaded. Singers are like, especially when they're not. When you see a really good live singer, okay, and male, female doesn't matter, and they belt out this like incredibly long note, and it doesn't drop off or anything, and they just hold it, and then they go back right into singing whatever. You have to understand when you hear that note starting to fade, that's them probably about to black out. Like you will get fade. I've especially if you're drinking, you get short winded a lot when you're drinking. So yes, I'm going to preach to you guys. Like I get it. People want to party when they play whatever, but try playing your shows sober. Just try that. You number one, and eat a good lunch, whatever. Try to get the best sleep you can. I know when like when I even jam nights, I'm like I start thinking about the jam night on a Monday and the jam night's on a Wednesday. I don't sleep until after the jam night, but I also know how to pace myself when you play a really good show, like you got this energy running through you for about 3 or 4 days after. You're so hyper that you just don't rest properly, and you have to know how to kind of okay, well, during the day, if you're at work, whatever, you gotta, pace yourself. Just pace yourself until you can give it. And that's the only advice I can really give because everybody's different. But you will find some people get really angry and irritated really easy, and that's what it is. They're basically they're crashing out during the show. Whether they're more likely to do it if they didn't get a good night's sleep and they're really drunk and whatever. They're more likely to do that. That's why you get these erratic, rock star things going on. I never had a really problem with it with anybody, but I did see bands do that where there was like people, nicest guys you'd ever meet, and as soon as they get on stage and after about the second, and it always happened in around the second set, right when the hangry starts coming in, it's like, oh, so I've been singing my heart out and singing a little harder than normal because again the PA sucks or whatever. I'm just getting really into the song. Suddenly I'm getting lightheaded and I'm also getting hungry because I'm burning more energy. Blah blah blah. The guitar player, well, he keeps bashing me with his damn guitar, whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, it is something to be like playing fatigue is something to be aware of. But anyway, there's ways around it. Have fun with it. It's better than just standing there and being boring. You don't have to go really nuts. Maybe do a couple of rock star moves throughout the night. Around the last set. Like if you want to do the flying Eddie Van Halen thing, or the Angus Young thing, or whatever, the Michael Schenker thing, whatever you want to do, or Rudolph Schenker, whatever you want to run around like those guys. That's fine. Or you want to do the helicopters like Fito from Angkor. I like watching that guy live. But like him, he'll spin himself and then he'll lie on the ground and play his guitar on the ground for a couple of minutes and get back up, right? But it's part of the show. But yeah, like there's ways to do it. But those people are bone sober when they're playing, just so you know. Right, and that's why they're able to pull it off because they prepare for the show. You know what I mean? They stretch, they do all these things. Nobody ever tells you about that stuff. They're just like, oh, go play live and let the energy take you, but you'll crash. If you have to keep a chocolate bar on, like if you're not doing the singing, man, okay, don't eat too much, but maybe keep a chocolate bar around. If you're the singer, well, you're kind of screwed. You got to go. You got to kind of grin and bear it because you got to keep your vocals clear, right? So no cheeseburgers for you until after the show. You know what I mean? If you eat cheeseburgers. But you get the idea of what I'm getting at is that when you play live, the first little while, like it creates a different stress when you don't realize why you've lost so much energy, why you have so much energy at the jam space where you can play like 6 hours straight and whatever, really rock out. And no problem. But there's all these other things that factor in: the traveling, the anticipation, all that stuff. So I mean, it's been a while since I've played in a really good band live, and I always put on a good show when I do. Whether doing one man band or whatever. I always try to entertain people as much as I can, but know your limitations. So anyway, yeah, there we go. Just thought I'd bring that up because I didn't see anybody else. And it gives me an excuse to make a video with my flying All right. Have a good night.